Beardo Benjo.
So, I had decided to make a Quest 2 video today. I had it all planned out, I knew exactly what I was going to do, and at the very last minute I decided to go completely off script and do something entirely different. There's been a topic that's been kind of at the forefront of my mind for the last couple of weeks, for a few different reasons, and I just wanted to come on and kind of just talk about it for 10-15 minutes, which by my standards probably means 20-30 minutes, but we'll see. And that topic is the length of video games, and how long is too long, and is too long even a thing? Is it even something that we can debate and talk about? Now, the reason I've been thinking about this a lot lately is because I personally have been guilty recently of moaning about the length of video games. Specifically, about the length of this video game here, Assassins Creed Valhalla. Now, I am 40 hours, I believe, into the game. 44% completion. I'm completely loving it. I don't really have any complaints about the game. When I really remove myself from it and just look at the experience for what it is, it's wonderful. It's stunning to look at. The quests are engaging. The characters, especially Eivor, are brilliant and interesting to play with and listen to. The side quests are funny and in some cases quite meaningful. There's enough treasure and things to explore. And in terms of gameplay loop, it's very open and free for you to do whatever you want, whenever you want, depending on what you fancy during a play session. So I shouldn't really have any reason to complain about this game. You know, this game has everything I want from my games. Great gameplay, good story, gorgeous visuals, and a big old world to explore. But that being said, I've been on Twitter multiple times over the past couple of weeks and said that this game is too long, I'll never complete it, they should make it shorter, and generally just moaned about it. And then I realised that this isn't something exclusive to just me. I had a look out there, and recently a few publications have commented on the length of games, and again used Assassin's Creed as an example. Does it have too much filler content? Should it be shorter? Should games have an abridged mode where all the side quests and fluff content is removed for gamers with shorter periods of time to play games to be able to play them and experience the whole story? It's a debate that I guess rages on and on forever and ever, and we'll never necessarily get an answer to that question. But I wanted to kind of come on and share my thoughts about it today, because I do have some thoughts on it after reading multiple articles and just thinking myself about why I've been complaining. If you will, let's go back to my youth. So many years ago, when I was much younger, had much more hair and much less worries and responsibilities, I would be purchased a game maybe like 3 times a year. Special occasions. I'd get a game for my birthday, I'd get a game at Christmas, and maybe something in the summer to keep me quiet when the school was closed and, you know, I was just causing trouble around the neighbourhood, and it was worth kind of keeping me indoors to play a video game. So I'd get a few games a year. The stuff I grew up with was games like Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, Ocarina of Time. I was essentially a Nintendo kid. I would make those games last me as long as physically possible. I would do everything those games had to offer me. Whether that was collecting all the jiggies, all the notes, all the stars in Mario, hunting all the sculptors, I think they were called sculptors, in Zelda Ocarina of Time, you know, the weird, horrible spiders. I would 100% my games, because I didn't know when the next game was coming. I didn't know when my next experience would be landing on my lap. You know, I considered myself, very lucky when it was time to get a new game. I didn't want to kill that deer, but I felt like I had to. It was getting a bit aggressive. I didn't know when my next game was coming, so I made every game last and I played it to the fullest of what that game had to offer. You know, I would experience everything the game had. And then I'd play it again, because I loved them so much and I wanted to experience them again. So I would. I'd play them through from start to finish again. And now, that isn't so much the case. Now, video games have always been expensive. I remember, again, just to reference the N64 era, that back then, N64 games still cost about £60, English pounds, 59.99. So they weren't cheap, and they're still not cheap now. So I never knew when my parents would be able to buy me another one. I never knew when I'd be getting another one. So, I had to make them experiences count. But now, when I'm presented with a game like this, like Assassin's Creed, which is jam-packed with 100 hours or more in terms of content, I complain. I complain that there's too much. There's too much to do. It should be shorter. Make it shorter. Give me an Assassin's Creed game that's just 20 hours long. That's what I really want. I want to be able to complete my games in 8 hours, 10 at a push. It's something that I moan about all the time. I really do. And why is that? Well, I think it's a few things, ultimately, after thinking on it for a little while. I think it boils down to choice, circumstance, and privilege. And when I say privilege, that could also be called wealth, income, and other such things. But effectively, the privilege that we have to be able to purchase new games. I think, for me, it comes down to those three things. For me personally, everything I say in this video is really just my own personal opinion, because I can't go on anything else, but that's just how I feel. So as I've got older, my time is more precious. I work a full-time job, as many adult gamers do. I have to spend, 40 hours a week doing that job, and it's a job that I love. I really love doing it, but it takes up a huge portion of my time each week. I then do YouTube on the side as a side hobby that I absolutely adore, and it takes up, probably 20 hours a week, maybe more. Depends on how many videos I make, depends on how much editing they need to do. There's a whole lot of factors. I then also have a wife, and the time that we spend together is crucially important and valuable to me. The same goes for my friends and family. So you can already see that my time now is kind of getting smaller and smaller, so my ability to be able to sit down and play a game like this has changed from when I was a kid. I could sit and play for, I could sit and play it for 16 hours a day and then get a little bit of sleep and then get up the next day and do it all over again. Now I'm lucky if I can sit for an hour, 2 hours, and I'm a night owl. I go to sleep really late, so I try and squeeze as much out of each day as physically possible, and that means that I can still play games. But my time is limited, massively so, and I have friends who have even less time to play video games. They still love it as a hobby, but they might only have an hour a week, if they're lucky, to jump on a video game and enjoy the experience. So time is more precious. And that's definitely a factor in why people like myself say that video games should be shorter. Make them shorter. Cut out all the filler content. But I don't think that's the biggest reason that we complain. My kind of awakening and the conclusion that I've arrived at really is that the biggest factor for me personally as to why I complain about the length of games these days isn't because I don't have a lot of time to play video games. It's a factor. It's a contributing factor, but it isn't the biggest reason. The biggest reason for me is that I'm privileged enough now to be able to spend my income on video games. And as an adult with disposable income, I don't have to necessarily exercise the restraint when it comes to purchasing more than one game every now and then. Now, the example I'll give is a very real example that exists right now. I'm currently playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I'm determined to finish it. This is the first Assassin's Creed game that I've enjoyed this much in a very long time. The last Assassin's Creed game I completed was Black Flag, which I still think is one of the best Assassin's Creed games, if not the best one. I played Odyssey, loved it, stopped playing at about 20 hours. I played Origins, loved it, stopped playing at about 20 hours. I'm determined to push myself through this experience and see it through to the end. Now, whilst doing that, I'm very aware of the fact that I have Demon's Souls, Miles Morales, Hyrule Warriors, all sitting there looking at me, and Cyberpunk is out in 2 weeks. As a kid, that was never a problem for me because I would never have had all of those games. I would never have had the income or ability to own all of those games within that short period of time. That is such a privileged place to be, where you've got 4 or 5 fantastic, content-packed video games to play at your disposal at any one period of time. And because I can't show the restraint to not purchase a new game until I've finished my current game, it creates this situation where my time is limited. Oh, something's... Oh, I've gone into some scary area. Where my time is limited and I can't play all the games I want to play. So I get angry at this game for having too much content because I just want to get it finished and start the next game, start the next experience. But that is a place of extreme privilege. And it isn't the case for everybody. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video is because I see a lot of people, and again, I've been guilty myself, of saying this game should be shorter. And it's easy when you're in a position like mine to not consider that, you know, people out there aren't in the same position that I'm in, which is a very lucky, privileged position. For some people out there, this is the only game they'll buy this year. It's the only game they might have in the past few years. Or maybe it's the only game they'll have in the next kind of 6 months. So it's not Assassin's Creed's problem that it's packed with 100 plus hours worth of content. It's my problem. It doesn't need to be shorter. It shouldn't have to be shorter to appease someone like me who doesn't have the time to play it through and wants to play everything on the market that's coming out as and when it comes out. Assassin's Creed should be praised for being filled with hundreds of possible hours worth of content. But it's so easy for someone like me to, even in jest, moan about how long it is. Oh, I'm never going to finish it. It's too full of content, make it shorter. But when you sit back and think about how I used to be when I was a kid, kids these days don't really play. This is going to sound controversial. Kids these days play anything. You know, age ratings withstanding. There's a lot of wolves around here. They will play Assassin's Creed. They'll play GTA. So this game having hundreds of hours is the equivalent of something like Zelda when I was younger having hundreds of hours for me. This might be the only game some kid gets this year. Or the only game that an adult gets this year who doesn't have the disposable income to play as many video games as they want. So it's not up to us as gamers to start saying, make all games shorter, just because we're in a privileged position to be able to play all of them or as many of them as we physically can, because that position doesn't apply to everybody. And if it does apply to you, it's a great position to be in. You know, me and my friends often joke that playing games isn't our hobby. Buying games is our hobby. I look at my Steam library and I am in awe of how much content is there. But yet every time a Steam sale rolls around, I look at buying something new. Because I want something new, because I love buying video games. And ultimately that leads me back to the problem again of my attention span not being there enough to keep playing this game that I absolutely love and absolutely adore playing, purely because I want to go and play the newest, hottest thing, which right now is Demon's Souls. So that's kind of my take on the whole, is Assassin's Creed too long? Should video games be shorter? My answer really ultimately is no. If a game wants to offer hundreds of hours of content for the same price as a game that only offers 8 to 10 hours worth of content, then good on it. If that means that someone like me gets annoyed because I can't complete it, because I want to go and play all the nice other new shiny things that I've been privileged enough to buy myself, because I work hard for my money and I do like buying video games, and I don't think there's anything wrong with buying lots of video games. It's a hobby that I enjoy, and for anyone out there who just buys video games like me, I'm sure there's tons of you. There's nothing wrong with it. But we're in a great position to be able to moan that we can't play all those new games because this one's too long. So I don't think that Assassin's Creed should be any shorter. I don't think that Cyberpunk should be any shorter. I don't think The Witcher should be any shorter. I don't think these big grand adventures should be any shorter than they feel the need to be, just because I get annoyed that I can't finish them so I can go and play Demon's Souls. For the people that can only afford one game every 6 months, one game every year, these games are incredible value propositions. and they should continue to be that for as long as physically possible. That's kind of where I've arrived at in my brain about this issue. Bit of a weird video. I did intend to make a Quest video today, or a VR video, but I figure I'm making a VR video tomorrow. There's a game coming out that I want to cover, and I've been whinging online about how long Assassin's Creed is for like 2 weeks now, and it got me thinking about it. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and kind of just open up my brain and let out all my thoughts about how the length of games is perceived, I think, in the media, because a lot of companies and journalists and outlets have been reporting on kind of like, can a game be too long? And I think a game can be too long in terms of its story. You know, it can draw something out for a period of time, and it can start to lose momentum. But these kind of big open world games offer you so much to go and do. I don't think they can be too long. I think if you think they're too long, it really is a privileged place to be, because chances are you feel like it's too long because you don't have enough time to play all the video games that you want to play, which is a lovely feeling, an annoying feeling, but realistically, if you break it down, it's a lovely feeling that you're able to have all these video games at your fingertips to play at any point in time. That's just my 2 cents, all just my opinion. Again, like, don't take anything I've said here to heart if that's not the case for yourself, because this is just my opinion. I will finish Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't think it should be any shorter than it is. It is an incredible value proposition. I urge everyone to go and play it. Best Assassin's Creed game I've played in years. Deserves a lot of attention. And I just wanted to address that I don't think it should be any shorter, even though I've said it should. I'm only talking in jest when I say those things, and now that I've had some time to think about it, I realise why I've been saying those things. I'm going to jump down here, kill this big guy while I sum up. Let's kill his little crony first, though. Ah, didn't kill him. Uh-oh. 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 Bad move with the ladder, mate. Right. This brings me to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed my little rant today. Just something... Oh, my God. Something I've been thinking about recently is about just the length of video games and the way that it's perceived in the media. I don't know if he's dead. Nope, he's still alive. I honestly do think that, for me anyway, I moan because I want to play them all, and I'm very privileged to be able to play them all. So I don't think these games should be any shorter. I think they should be longer, if anything. You know, give people that want the content as much content as possible. I think an abridged version of these games is the only kind of way to look at this that would be beneficial to everybody. Don't make games shorter just because some people can't finish them. But maybe, yeah, offer an abridged mode that just bounces you from main mission to main mission to main mission, cuts out all the single player, all the side quest stuff, and just allows you to experience the game as a story without all the additional story. I think that would appease everybody. But fundamentally, don't make these games shorter just because people like me moan about them, because it's not my place to say that they need to be shorter. It's more my issue that I can't manage my time and money to just buy one game every now and then. I feel the need to buy more, and then that creates this need to play them all, and it's a vicious cycle. But for people who can't afford to have every game, it's important that these long games exist and give you the amount of content that they give. Hope you've enjoyed, guys. I'm going to continue to play this now, and I am going to get it finished. I honestly will, because it is a fantastic game. Check out Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's very, very good. Just got a big patch on the consoles as well, so it's running a lot nicer today. No screen tearing anymore. I'm playing it on Series X, and yeah, it has been having some screen tearing issues, but it looks pretty damn good now. Go check it out. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the length of video games. Do you think they should be shorter? Why is that, if you think that? Do you think it is just down to the amount of time you have, or do you think that maybe, yeah, you've got too many games and your time doesn't allow you to play them all, so maybe buy less games? Who knows? Not that that's ever an option. I physically can't buy less games. I'm addicted to them. Let me know in the comments. Leave a like, leave a comment, and hit subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to be playing some scary new VR game, and I'm very excited. I'll catch you then. See you later, guys.